Hel- Hello, everyone. This is Sia Knight, the College Savvy Coach, and I'd like to thank you so much for joining me this afternoon or morning or evening, depending on where you are. My name is the College Savvy Coach, and what I do is I help busy families plan, prepare, and position their students for successful college admission and scholarship selection. So today I'm going to talk about one aspect of this, and it's how to present yourself to colleges. It's so competitive when we start talking about the more selective schools. You're going to have to figure out a way to distinguish yourself, how to stand out for the right reasons, and how not to put a red flag on yourself or on your file for the wrong reasons. It's not always a popular subject to talk about. Sometimes students kind of want to say, "Oh, this doesn't really happen." Universities don't really check Facebook. They don't look at my social media profiles. They don't care how I approach them on the telephone. But I'm here to say, based on my conversations with dozens and dozens of college reps, it does matter. It does count. And I'm just going to give you some hints about what to do to make sure that you are successful when you apply to college. First of all, I just want to show you ways you can contact me. After this is all said and done, if you have more questions or you want to chat, you can reach me at my website, cnight.com, or on Twitter at cnight. Also, Facebook. You can reach me, Sia Knight, or College Savvy Coach. So I'm also excited to say that for joining me, I'm going to offer for the folks who go over to my website and sign up a free 15-minute college strategy session. So just keep that in mind. Don't go there now. Wait until this presentation's over, though. So, what is this session about? I am going to provide students with specific strategies that will make them more attractive candidates for college admission. You have to make sure that you are doing all of the right things so that you can stand out from the crowd. Okay, so that's the goal. And also, I want to say this too as I continue. If you have questions about the topic, if I bring something up and you're like, I'm not sure about that, feel free to type your question in the question box, or, uh, towards the end, you can type your question in the question box, and I'll address as many of those as I can towards the end. So let's get started. So I'm going to talk about how to present yourself to college reps online, in person, and on the phone. Those are the three areas that I've seen students stumble and actually hurt their college chances because they've done the wrong thing in one or more of those areas. So let's take a look at how to present yourself online. So the first thing I like to talk about is your email address. Now, I know on this night, nobody uses email anymore. Come on, they're all texting now. Some colleges are still going and communicating with you via email. So if you watch the Honey Boo Boo show, I forgot what it's even called, but you know that's her nickname, Honey Boo Boo, which is fine. I mean, of course, she is about 7. But if that's your nickname, you might not want that to be your email address. So you want to be taken seriously. So when I was a school counselor, and I had to pass information on to students and their email addresses, I would actually tell the student, no, this is not your email address. Nobody's going to email something to Hot Peaches. Yeah, so in order to appear as a serious person and also to make sure that you avoid confusion, I have a suggestion. I suggest you get a free Gmail and Ymail. Ymail was hot for about a hot second about 2 years ago. It was Yahoo's equivalent. They had started running out of Yahoo addresses. So instead of yahoo.com, it was ymail.com. The bottom line is get a free email address that's specifically dedicated to the college admissions process. So I typically suggest first name dot last name at wherever.com. Now, if your name is a little bit more difficult, maybe first initial, last name, but something that's going to help eliminate some confusion in the process. So even if you check your email, here's another, this is a bonus right here. If you put your email address on your application, and this is also for scholarships as well, make sure you're checking that email address so that you don't miss important information. I've got horror stories about scholarship offers that were offered via email that a student missed out on because she did not respond in time. So you don't want that. So take a few seconds, think about what your email address is. In fact, go ahead and type it in to the question box. And let's take a look and see how you all are doing so far with having a professional image. So, and this is something that hopefully you can use for not only the college admissions process, but also when you start to apply for scholarships as well. So it looks like you guys are doing pretty well. Okay. I don't see anything crazy coming up. So good job. Good job. So, I see a first name dot last name. Excellent. Well, actually, it's last name dot first name, and I won't call you out exactly what it is, but that's always a good way to go as well, in case most of your files are last name, first name. So let's continue. Presenting yourself online. Again, it's not always the most popular topic for me to present on, especially when I start to, I guess, ruin everybody's fun. Oh, Miss Knight. I want you to protect your online image. You should consider yourself a brand, and you're a brand that you're trying to present to a college. It's like you're an ad agency, and you want the college to invest in you, and you want to have the best ad out there. So let me tell you that in an instant, someone can go from having a positive brand, okay, by coincidence, a couple of athletes, yeah, they were on top of the world. Look at us, yay! And to having a negative brand or a negative image. Oh, my heavens to Betsy. You see, Mr. Lance Armstrong, he's not quite the champion that we thought he was in a lot of people's eyes because of the steroid use. Also, you see Ray Rice and his now wife. And if you haven't heard on the news about all of the information that's been happening, then just follow up on that. Chances are you have heard about it because images never, ever go away. So when you start talking about yourself as a brand, you're the person and you want to advertise kind of your features and your benefits, what you can bring to a college campus. I want you to think about any potential positive and negative associations with the brand. Be careful and protect your online brand when it comes to the social networking sites. Think about deleting anything that's questionable. So if you're a sophomore and you say, gosh, I do have that one Twitter account. Oh my heavens. Now, I'm here to tell you, it really never goes away, but delete it as soon as possible. In fact, here's proof that images never go away. Here's a picture that was placed on Facebook. Okay, I am in this picture. I did not put this picture on Facebook. It's a picture of me and some of my friends when I was a freshman in college. Now, it looks innocent enough, and it would be innocent because I was really square and still am. But someone took this picture, scanned it, put it up on Facebook, and tagged me in it. You're like, so what? What's the big deal? Here's the deal. If I had been the type of student who got a little bit of their party on, I had some things I wasn't supposed to have, I was doing things I wasn't supposed to do, that person still could have taken that picture, scanned it, and put it up on Facebook. Okay? And this was taken in 1992, good gracious, before anyone on this call was born. So I want you to think about that. This was 1992. People were still using Polaroid cameras. You know, you took the picture and it came out. Read about it in your books. But think about now when everyone has a cell phone. Everyone carries a camera almost 24/7. And sometimes people take pictures, they record you, they don't ask a darn thing when it comes to, is it okay for me to post this? Is it okay for me to, tag you online? So not only do you have to be careful about what you put up, because colleges told me they are looking, okay? You have to be careful about even being in situations that could get you in trouble, because you may not post it. You have sense enough not to post it, not to say anything or do anything crazy, or post it online. But Skippy might not have that much common sense, and he may call you out and post your business, as we would say, all in the street, okay? So let's move on, okay? Also, when it comes to presenting yourself online, think about your application, the application itself, okay? So again, the college is getting a picture of you based on what you are giving to them, okay? So please know that the college essay is to give another side, another aspect of who you are. It's not just so that you can go through everything that they can read on your application itself. So for instance, you may have put the fact that you're in the National Honor Society, the fact that you're in the Key Club, the fact that you volunteer at your church. You put that on the application. But something you may want to speak to is the fact that your brother has a learning disability, and how that's affected you, and how that made you have compassion, and how now you want to be a teacher, and you think this school is the best college that will help you reach that goal. You see how I did that? You see how I did that? I looped it all together. So you have to make sure that what you're writing about, it's heartfelt. I'm not saying make anything up. However, I am saying make sure that you present an aspect of yourself that that people can, they can kind of relate to. All right, moving on, moving right along. Presenting yourself on the phone. Now, I am pretty old compared to you guys. And I'm so old that back in my day, teenagers would talk on the telephone. I mean, there weren't any buttons you could press to text each other. We did a whole lot of talking on the phone. And one thing that I've noticed nowadays is that students, young adults, don't usually talk on the phone that often. And so consequently, I find that they're out of practice. So one thing I want to say, presenting yourself to colleges, if you have questions about the application or anything like that, call yourself. Call the university or college yourself. Don't have your mom call, not your school counselor. Okay, call them yourself and have a specific list of questions and talking points, and speak clearly when you're speaking with them. Again, just it almost as if it is an interview or audition. Every interaction you have with the college or university is an occasion that you can impress them. Now, here's another place that you want to go ahead and impress college representatives on campus. Now, I used to run a college prep program where we would take students on college tours, and we had a dress code for the college tours. Why? Oh my gosh, that's strict. Why would you have a dress code? Because, as I mentioned a few moments ago, every interaction with the college or university is an audition. So if you look like you are on your way to the club, of course, I'm not saying that doesn't make you qualified to go to that school. What I'm saying is this, okay? Some people will take note of that and say, hmm. Now, will they not admit you because of that? Probably not. However, would you want to take that chance? So I would say, please make sure you wear something, step it up one step above what you wear to school. Just one step. I'm not saying you have to have a three-piece suit and a tuxedo on, or a formal ball gown when you go to on a college visit. But I am saying think about the way you're presenting yourself and how you may stand out. So, and then also I want to talk about the interview as well. Now, if you are applying to a school that offers an interview, uh, go on that interview. Go on that interview. Let me tell you that colleges are looking for reasons to admit you. So the more substantive information that they're willing to receive, the more chances you get to impress them. I want you to listen to me very carefully. I'm not saying that if they ask for 2 recommendations, then guess what? 10, that's 5 times better. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if something is optional on an application, it's not really optional. Do it. That makes you stand up and out above the crowd and makes them know that you are serious about that school. On an interview, I would say step it up a couple of notches. That is where you would want to wear a nice suit, gentlemen, or a skirt or a nice pair of pants and a blouse, something like that. So, on a college tour, it's okay, step it up a little bit. Young ladies, I've been on college tours with young ladies who've had 4-inch heels on. It was even painful to watch. So I would say wear some nice shoes. I'm not saying go get your grandma's shoes, but wear something nice for the college tour. And kind of step it up. An interview, step it up a couple of notches. Okay? Also, when it comes to being on campus, I have another experience where we took a group of students who had a chance to participate in an on-site admissions program. So the college was going to tell the students at the end of the weekend if they were in or not. So great opportunity, great opportunity. Now, I had a group of students there. There was this one young person who knew a college student who went to the school. And so during one of the presentations, she decided that she wanted to go, instead of listening to the presentation, she wanted to go hang with a friend. Her friend is already in the school. She is not. So I kind of pulled her aside and suggested that she stay, because you don't want to, if you're visiting a campus, you don't want to look bored, disinterested. You want to ask great questions. You don't know how many times I've been on tours with students and someone will ask a question and the rep was like, oh, that's a great question. What's your name? They're not just asking for their health. They're going to note that. And often people who host you for group tours and things like that, many times those are the folks who are actually reading your application. Those are the admissions folks from your area. Okay? And do your homework. One thing that a rep told me is that he's happy to answer questions that students and parents have, but he does get a little bit, did he want to say annoyed? He told me annoyed, but maybe I shouldn't say annoyed. He gets a little frustrated when people ask him questions that can be easily found on the school's website. Not because he's lazy and he doesn't want to tell you anything, but it's because if you have done your homework, that shows how interested you are in that school. And some universities actually track demonstrated interest. So keep that in mind and ask great questions when you go on college campus tours. And also, again, be gracious to your host. Make sure you thank them profusely because the young lady who was going to skip out on that session, she only paid $20 to be on that campus all weekend. So she paid $20, um, hotel room taken care of, food, all sorts of activities. But she was like, nah, I'm going to go ahead and hang out with my friend. So you have to make sure that you appreciate everything that your college hosts are giving you. All right, now before we get into presenting yourself in person, this is one of the last sections of the presentation. I want to let everyone know who has joined us since the beginning, the very beginning, that for everyone here on this session, I am giving you a special gift, an offer. You can, at the end of the presentation, don't go over now, at the end of the presentation, go to my website, siaknight.com, and you can receive a free 15-minute call with me, the College Savvy Coach. You can ask one question, an issue, a situation. You can talk it through with me for 15 minutes, and it's 100% free. Just as my gift for you hanging out with me today here on College Week Live. So let's talk about presenting yourself in person, because often when you go to college fairs or when the college reps come to your school, those are the people who are reading applications from that school. So you want to be extra impressive to those reps. So here's the thing. At college fairs, you have to have a plan because it can be so overwhelming. It can be so overwhelming because there are lots of people in many instances. There are lots of schools. Some people actually I've heard say, I can't go to X college fair anymore. It's just too much. So what I suggest is if a school, if a venue publishes a map or a list of the colleges before the college fair, kind of have a game plan. Because if you just go and wander around in some college fairs, you will be so overwhelmed, it's hard to get anything out of it. Be prepared to give your information quickly. So also this talks about doing your homework, because one of the college fairs that I was associated with about 2 years ago, they went to a system where every representative had a scanner and each attendee had like a barcode. So they scan you, bam, you're in their system, and you are, you're registered to receive information and that sort of thing. And so check and see if the college fair has that type of system in place. If not, what I've also seen is I've seen students who have come with address labels already filled out, name, email address, maybe the city address, because what we'll do is it will allow you to come up and say, hello, rep from XYZ University. My name is Sia Knight, and I'm interested in your school. Oh, okay, and we can have a conversation. It's like, oh, may I also have some information about your school? Sure, just sign up on this list. Oh, okay, hold on one moment. You put that label down. The person like, yes, very good, Sia Knight. I may even remember you. I might, as you walk away, put a little note, because the reps are human as well. And so some things that would impress kind of the people in a general setting might impress. So in preparedness typically impresses people. Now, here's the thing. When college reps come to your school to visit, if you're remotely interested in that school and you can arrange to be at that particular presentation, go. As I mentioned before, many times the college reps that are coming out to the schools, they're reading applications from that school. So if you, especially if you're interested in a smaller school, if you're interested in a school that maybe a little less competitive, okay, those reps are really looking for quality candidates. So if you can go and make that great impression in person, that is what I would suggest. Now, also, let's talk about something called demonstrated interest. Demonstrated interest. Demonstrated interest just means that some colleges track the number of times that you contact them. Some colleges track the number of times and how you contact them. Now, am I saying that the schools who do this, they like school stalkers? No, that is not what I'm suggesting. But if you do things like go to the presentations when they're at your school, if you're able to get to their campus for a campus visit, if you call and ask a question about applications, some schools really care about that. They really care about that. So what I would suggest for your top 5 schools, go to the website of those schools and find out if they say anything about demonstrated interest. If so, you know what you have to do. You have to create a dialogue because what the schools want to know, they want to know if they offer you a position in that freshman class, are you likely to take it? That's why demonstrated interest is important. Students are applying to more and more schools every year. With the Common App especially, they're applying for to so many schools. So colleges are trying to hedge their bets because when they let you in, that's saying, okay, we're going to let you in and we hope that you will make your deposit and come here, right? Okay. So that's what I would suggest, demonstrated interest. Again, don't become a school stalker. Don't stalk the people. Don't look up who works your region and send them personal emails and try to friend them on Facebook. Don't do that. But in the appropriate channels, as I mentioned, you can reach out to them and ask great questions. Almost done with the formal part of the presentation. I see there are questions that are starting to pop up in the Q&A box, and I will stick around and answer as many of those questions as I can. And if you have questions about anything dealing with the college process, please feel free to ask. This is just one aspect of what I talk about and how I work with families, talking about the best way to present yourself. But I really work in all aspects of college admission. So let's talk about the bottom line. Why does this matter? Why does this count? You want to be considered a serious student. And here's what I tell families all the time. A college, when they are thinking about whether or not to admit you, they are thinking about a couple of different things. For instance, they want to know if they admit you, are you ready to do the college level work to a point where you will be successful? And are you a good fit for their college campus? Those are the things that they have to keep in mind. So if you demonstrate that you can definitely do the work, that's great. But if a college rep happened to look you up on Facebook and you're acting the fool, as we would say, not so fine. So many times those two elements have to come together. And as I mentioned before, colleges are looking for reasons to admit you. So the more good information you give them, the better. Okay? Now, and here's what I don't want to come across. Okay? I don't want anyone to not be themselves. I don't want that at all. But as mature people, we have different aspects of our personality and we have different ways of presenting ourselves depending on the situation. The way that I act with my friends is different than the way I act when I'm working with families. Okay, so you have to be able to distinguish those two. And the last thing I kind of want to leave you with before I answer more questions is admissions professionals don't know you. They don't know you. They can't guess what's behind the packet. All you have is what you present to them in the form of the application, and then perhaps what they see online, hear on the phone, or see in person. Chances are they won't do all of that. They won't see you in person. So you have to do your best to make sure what they see in the application is great. And also that there aren't other things that will take away from your greatness here. Okay. So at this point, I want to thank you and open up the floor. I will, for a couple of minutes, answer any questions that you may have about the college process. And if you don't want to ask it here in this forum, or you are, you can't think of anything right now, feel free to contact me. As I mentioned before, that if you go to my website, I will offer a free 15-minute session just for the folks that are hanging out here with me. There should be a pop-up box that will ask you if you want to join the list. I give out like almost every other day free relevant information about how to get into college and how to succeed. Hit me up on Facebook or Twitter as well. So I'm going to answer a couple of these questions. Um, the first question that I received is from, and I'll go ahead and call you out because, you did have a question. This one is Samantha Lamb. Hi, Samantha. Shout out to S. Lamb. It says, what is your major? What is my major? When I was an undergrad, I was a social science major and an education minor. So what does that mean? That means I was prepared to teach high school social studies, which I did for about 7 years. I then became a school counselor. I went back and I got a master's in school counseling, and then I went back again and I got a degree, an educational specialist degree in administration and supervision. And I've worked many different aspects of education. And the one thing I want to say about that is that the reason why I became the College Savvy Coach is that I was a first generation college student. My mom didn't go to college. She couldn't help me at all. It's not that she didn't want to, but she couldn't help me. And so I was helped by many different people who gave me good advice and helped me along the way. So that's why I'm the College Savvy Coach, because I want to continue that as well. So enough about me. All right. So the next question, I'm not going to say who it's from. Okay, I'm going to read it. I'm going to screen it a little bit before I say who it's from. Okay. If I asked at a college tour if my IB credits would interfere with my community college credits that I'm taking in my junior year, would that be okay? So this is from Malene Mahari. Shout out, Malene. Hopefully I'm saying your name properly. So I guess the basic question is that an appropriate question to ask during the college tour? Is that a little too much, or is that, I mean, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You can type in some more information if you would like to, Malene, but the answer is, I find that that's appropriate. Those are the types of questions that colleges expect, and it shows that you are a planner, you're a thinker, you're not coming in unprepared. So absolutely, asking about credits in a general sense, what credits transfer. If you are at an AP school, asking what AP scores are accepted for college credit, things like that. That shows that you are actually really planning and thinking and not just haphazardly applying to places and not really kind of thinking about what you're saying and what you're doing. So I think you're on firm footing there. All right. So, Michelle Wu, shout out Michelle. Hello. And it says, hello. Hello to you, Michelle. I'm a junior in high school, and I was wondering what would be the best thing to do right now to increase my chances to get into college. Now, that's a broad one, but I will give some real specific advice for you juniors. The best thing to do right now is to knock it out the box. Junior year, that is the most important academic year when it comes to what colleges and universities are paying attention to. Because I want you to think about this. Around next year, this time, Michelle, you're going to be thinking about, and some people are even at this point applying to college. Do you have any grades from senior year at this point? No. If you apply in November, do you have any real grades like on a report card? No. So the last grades that they will see are the ones from junior year. So you don't want to kind of say, oh, it's junior year, I'll still have senior year to. No. So that's the number one thing that you can do to increase your chances. Also, of course, I would take college admissions testing sometime this year, either the SAT or the ACT. Most colleges don't care which one you take. I would take one of those tests for the first time in the spring. So coming up, say like March, okay? Then you can see where you stand with your score. If it's where you need to be, bam, that's out of the way. You don't have to worry about that senior year. If it's not, then you have the summer to do some type of practice remediation, get some help, and then you'll still have the October test senior year to kind of brush things up. So that's another thing I would do. So Michelle, hopefully I gave you enough information. If not, even if I did give you information on this question, make sure to come see me on siaknight.com. I'd love to answer another question for you as well. All right. So the next question comes from Emily Tatum. Shout out, Emily. Hello, how? So the question is, what is your advice with interviews with colleges via Skype? Now, the question is, so I believe, Emily, your question is it a good idea to interview with colleges via Skype? If you do I have any tips on things to do, some do's and don'ts, that sort of thing? And the answer is yes, I have some tips. First of all, if the question is it okay to interview via Skype? The answer is yes. Here's the deal. You are about to spend lots of time and lots of money on a college campus. Colleges are aware of this. And with the technology that we have, they understand if you're not able to visit the campus 5 times, or if you're not able to perhaps make it for an interview. So a Skype interview is acceptable because, presumably if you are applying to college, you don't have a full-time job. So, okay. So it's okay in 2014 to do that. And so when it comes to tips and hints on if you do a Skype interview, what are the the words to the wise that I would offer? First of all, when you do the interview, try to make sure you're in a distraction-free environment. I know we're all used to doing 20 million things at once, and we're all used to texting and uh, watching TV and have the laptop here. You have so make sure that you are focused on the task at hand and that you don't have like 12 windows up and going and binging in the background. Also, speaking of background, make sure that your actual background is appropriate, not distracting. You don't have anything crazy on the back walls. So those are the types of things. And wear a nice jacket or something. I mean, the good thing about it, the good part about it, Emily, is that you don't have to get all dressed up. You just have to look good from waist up, and then you should be solid on the Skype interview. So I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, again, please holler at me at siaknight.com, and I'll be happy to chat with you a little bit more. All right. Um, okay, now hopefully I am pronouncing this right. It could be Jean Louis. It could be Jean Lewis. Depends on where this person's from. But here is the question at hand. How were you able to pay for college? How was I able to pay for college? And that's a fair question. I mentioned I was a first generation college student, single mother who had a disability. We lived in public housing, excuse me, most of my life. How did I pay? Excuse me. Well, one thing is that I chose which college I went to very carefully, very carefully. Cost is a factor, but take in all of the elements of cost. Also, one moment. Sorry, everybody, allergies. So, also, I had to take out loans, small loans, but it was the only way that I was going to get done. But I was smart about it. I didn't take thousands and thousands of dollars more than I needed. You have to be careful about that because you're in college, you're broke. They're offering you loans sometimes. Like, oh yeah, I'll take the maximum amount. Not always wise. So that's how I paid for college. Excuse me. One thing that I did not do that I should have done is apply for more scholarships. That's a whole different session, a whole different conversation. I love working with students on scholarships because it's the thing that is probably the most overlooked in the college admissions process. There's a smart way to do it. There's an organized way to do it. You can do it. And that's what I usually really push with my families. Scholarship, scholarship, scholarship. It's going to be some work, but in the end, it can be worth it. Sorry. Okay, I think I can tackle a couple of more questions. My voice is going to. How much importance do colleges place on the amount of absences a student wants to know? Shout out to you, Jasmine. Sorry that I'm coughing during your shout out, but um, here's the thing. Colleges look at your school record, and in some instances, the school record does have absences. If you have a lot of absences for a particular reason, speak to that in your essay. Have your counselors speak to that if they write a supplement, because you should explain it. But if you have a lot of absences in an astronomical GPA, that's not going to take away from the main thing, your grades, test scores, etc. So, if there's a reason behind it, speak to it. Okay? Sorry. Okay, a couple more questions before I start to really lose it. Okay, Angela Carter says, I attended a college fair that offered on-the-spot admissions. If I was told I was accepted, what should be my follow-up approach? Excuse me. First of all, let me say, if this really happened, Angela, good job. There are college fairs that offer on-site admission. Many times you have to have sealed copies of your transcript, and you may have to wait a long while to meet with the reps, but it does happen. So what you want to do, you want to find out what type of admission you've been offered. Are they offering regular admission? Are they offering just early action, or are they offering early decision? There's a difference. Early action means you apply for college before the general deadline, but it's not binding. So you apply for college, you may get in, you may not get in, um, and if they offer it to you, you don't have to take it. It's just something you put on the table. Yay, okay? Now, early decision, the D is for definite. So if you apply early decision to a school, you apply and they let you in, they're waiting for that deposit check. They're like, yeah, Angela, you're in. Okay, where's that check? So make sure if you're applying to any school at any time, but especially on the spot, make sure find out what kind it is. If you're not 100% sure about a school, don't apply early decision. And then don't come to me saying, how can I get out of my early decision? Don't do that. So that's what you should do. Whew, sorry, everyone. Apologize. Lots of allergies here in Virginia. So, okay. So, and what your follow-up should be is to find out what type of admission you've been offered, and then at that point, find out what the college is expecting to be your next step. If they say, we're just making this offer, let us know the deposit date is May 1, then you have some time. If they're saying, yeah, we need you to tell me, then you have to follow their lead. Now, here's the thing, though, that I like to tell students and parents all the time, because this cost me a lot of money. Whoever asked me how I paid for school, I could have had a much easier time to paying for school had I done this when I was an incoming freshman. Watch your deadlines very carefully. Okay? If a school says that January 1 is the deadline, sorry, most of you will apply December 27th. But many times there is a preferred deadline for merit-based aid. So be careful, because if you miss that deadline, that free money that they were going to offer you, off the table. Okay? So Angela, hopefully I answered your question. If not, I just talked a long time and answered somebody's question. So again, let me know if I can help you on siaknight.com. Okay. Elizabeth Schaller wants to know, what questions should we be asking colleges? So that's good. Freshman retention rate. Freshman retention rate. What does that mean? Out of the percentage of 100% of the freshman class who enter, how many return for sophomore year? So if you have a school that says our freshman retention rate is 99%, that's great. Excuse me. If they say our freshman retention rate is 22%, that tells you something. That would be the question I would ask. And also ask them about the things that are important to you. Now, and that sounds kind of cheesy, Elizabeth, but for instance, if you have a particular major in mind that you know is not offered in most places, ask about that major. If you have questions about a style of living, like you say, oh, you know what? I don't want to live in a communal setting. I only want to live in a suite type of setting. Ask about how housing's done. Ask about whether or not freshmen are allowed to have cars if you have a car. Ask about kind of the credits, AP or IB. That's a good one, and they like to hear questions like that. So those are just a few examples of the types of questions that you could ask that sound like you are absolutely on the ball. Diamond Armstrong. Hey, Diamond. She's a sophomore. She wants to have some advice about college. Now, the question is, should she be looking for colleges now? And the answer is yes. The answer is absolutely yes. You have got to start now. Okay. I mean, I would say that you can go ahead and start visiting schools at this point, because what's going to happen is junior and senior year, you're going to get very busy. And if you have the means to start going to colleges now, absolutely. Do your best academically, because that's going to be the number one factor that determines whether or not you get into a school. And Diamond, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me anything more specific. So good luck to you, Diamond. Should I submit an essay, Nicholas Ned wants to know, with my applications? And the answer is, it depends on the school that you're applying to. I said it earlier in the broadcast, if it's optional, do it. If it's optional, do it. Okay? So pay very close attention to the what the colleges are saying. And I'm not particularly touched by this question. My eyes are starting to water. I'm falling apart. But that's okay. I can do a couple more minutes just for you guys. I'm going to rally. All right. So the answer, Nicholas, is look at what the colleges are asking for. If they ask for essays, you've got to do it. If it's optional, I suggest do it, because colleges are looking for reasons to admit you. Okay? Last question from Michelle Wu. Wu has another question. How should you approach visiting colleges? She wants to know. And are there any ways that I know about visiting colleges for free? Yes. In fact, I do know about that, Michelle. So what you should do when it comes to visiting college, and I don't remember, Michelle, if you told me what year you were. I think you said you were a junior. I can't remember. But I would say don't try to save it all for senior year if possible. Spread it out, because it's overwhelming. And if you have the opportunity to visit early, do that, because you don't want to fall in love with the school, and then you get there and you're like, ooh, this is not the school I thought it was. Okay? And then the last thing is colleges for free. Some colleges have what's called a fly-in program, where they want to invite students on their campus so that they can talk with them, give them a chance to take a look at the campus. And some schools will do this absolutely positively for free. So what you should do is take a look on the website, or I would Google free college fly-in programs and see what comes up. There may be a college and university that you would be interested in. Contact them, let them know that you're an awesome student and that you are interested in seeing their campus. Okay? I think that's all I can do, everybody. I'm totally falling apart. But I'd like to thank you all once again for joining me. And again, come visit me on siaknight.com. See what's going on over there. Sign up for my list. Send lots of free information out. I'd like to thank College Week Live for inviting me one more time. I think this is my third or fourth time doing this. It's always a blast. I love it. And until next time, stay savvy, everybody. Goodbye.